This week from IDW Comics is the Godzilla 70th Anniversary Collection, which is 10 stories, art and story by James Stokoe, Dan Dido and Joel Jones, Danny Larez and Sebastian Perez, Matt Frank, E.J. Sue, Adam Gorham, Casey Gilly and Liana Kangas, Michael W. Conrad and Gigi Shaw, and Natasha Alterici. Like I said, the Godzilla 70th Anniversary Collection is 10 one-shot stories from a talented pool of writers and artists, many of whom pulled double duty as both writer and artist, and let me tell you, every single one of these stories is beautiful. What the fuck did IDW tell these writers and artists? Hey, it's the 70th anniversary of Godzilla, so write a story like it's your last day on Earth. I literally cried at one of these. It's 10 pages. It's a short story. What the fuck? If you have ever considered yourself a Godzilla fan, or if you're just a fan of unique, perspective-shifting, original science fiction with a subtle, sublime, thematic message, then you need to get your hands on this collection. It is one of the finest comics on shelves right now. I've highlighted IDW and their Godzilla series on this channel before, specifically the Godzilla Rival series, which is always consistent and entertaining. But this right here is like the prime, quintessential essence of what makes Godzilla such a prolific character for writers and artists for so many years. I don't want to spoil all the stories in this, but I do want to touch more in depth on a few that really impacted me, so spoilers ahead. First off, I want to talk about Ain't No Place for an Angel, written by Casey Gilly. I feel like when I or any Godzilla fan talks to a third party about Godzilla comics, there's sort of a barrier of cognitive entry. A thought that forms like, what even is a Godzilla story? I mean, it's just a big lizard attacking a city. I mean, how many times can you tell that same story? Which are fair questions, but after reading Ain't No Place for an Angel, I finally have my foremost counterexample of how impactful, unique, diverse, and inventive Godzilla comics can be. Because this story from Casey Gilly is a fucking Western. Yeah, no, don't scroll back. You didn't hear that wrong. A Western. In this story, we follow a group of displaced women in an abandoned desert town as they try to form some sort of life apart from the dangers of the outside world, all while under the protection of their queen, Mothra. The structural confines and page limit of this story leave some of the grander details underdeveloped, but I don't think I've ever been so immediately invested in a story. IDW, please, I need a full-length version of this. I would read 12 issues. I would pay you money. Hell no, that's not far enough. I want to watch the animated series. This is a goldmine idea. Next up, I want to talk about The Half-Century Boar, written by James Stokoe. First of all, James's artwork in this has so much life and style and character that I kind of did a double take because I thought it was Daniel Warren Johnson. The story not only perfectly captures the horror and spectacle of my favorite Godzilla villain, Hedorah, it is also a rare look into the reality and horror of what living in a kaiju-infested world would actually be like. We follow two grunts, two might-as-well-be-nameless background characters, as they clean up Hedorah's polluted body and the carnage from a Godzilla battle over the course of years, only for Godzilla to arrive and fight the reformed Hedorah once again. It is the perfect summation of the hopelessness and horrific absurdity of war and willful pollution by humanity, told by characters that perfectly embody and represent those ideas. Lastly, I want to talk about the story that affected me so severely, which is In the Shadow of a God, art and writing by Matt Frank. This issue features probably one of the most classic Godzilla comic story settings. A lost child running through the rubble of a city overwhelmed by Godzilla's rampage. But as this little girl does so, she also encounters a lost and helpless horseshoe crab that she carries around and protects in a bucket. The art here is titanic, epic, otherworldly, and all achieved with black, white, and red, which is also really impressive. But also the observations made by our little girl protagonist and our writer are poetic and subtle and cutting, all in the most evocative and eye-opening ways. It feels like the classic Godzilla tale, but never told so affectingly. This collection of stories deserves so much recognition, so please support your local comic book store and grab Godzilla 70th Anniversary Collection on shelves now, and share your favorite story in the comments below. Here's some of that amazing artwork from James Stokoe. Such amazing scale and detail and color. Still absolutely floored looking at this page. I feel like I'm going to think about it for a really long time. Oh my god, and this almost wordless story from E.J. Sue was so subtle but so effective. Please, I didn't know a Godzilla Western was possible. Please, make more. This art from Gigi Shaw is so nostalgic, and I like that throughout this collection we see different eras of Godzilla represented. Natasha Alterici with the gut-punching splash page. This isn't related to the 70th anniversary collection, but holy shit, a sequel to Godzilla Here There Be Dragons? The prequel series? Oh my god, yes!